The Skyview restaurant wasn't just a place to eat. It was an elite gathering ground, a convention of the city's rich and powerful. Deals were made over a glass of wine, fortunes changed hands between bites of filet mignon. If you weren't somebody here, you were nobody. Tonight was no different. The dimly lit chandeliers cast a golden glow over the sleek, modern decor. Laughter from sharply dressed men and women filled the air, conversations dripping with power, influence, and wealth. It was a world where money spoke louder than words. And Alex? Alex didn't fit in. He walked in, heart pounding. He wasn't nervous about Julia. He had been talking to her for weeks. Their connection felt real, like something beyond money or status. But now, standing inside this world of polished arrogance, something felt off. The hostess glanced at him, then at his clothes. Not designer, not expensive. Her lips curled in barely hidden amusement. "Can I help you?" she asked. Alex smiled. "I have a reservation. I'm meeting someone. Julia." The woman's eyebrows lifted, then a smirk. "Julia? Are you sure?" Something cold curled in Alex's stomach. Why would she say it like that? She scanned the book in front of her. "No reservation under your name." Alex frowned. "She made it. Check again." A waiter passed by, stealing a glance at him. Then a whispered laugh. Something wasn't right. Then Julia arrived. The moment she stepped in, heads turned. She was stunning. Her silk dress clung to her curves, her designer heels clicking against the marble floor. She looked every bit like she belonged here. Her eyes found Alex, and she froze. Her lips parted slightly like she wasn't sure what she was looking at. Then her expression changed. Disappointment, annoyance, embarrassment. Alex took a step forward. "Hey!" Julia crossed her arms. "You're kidding, right?" Alex's heart pounded. "What?" Her voice dropped to a whisper. "You're seriously dressed like that?" A nearby waiter chuckled under his breath. Alex clenched his jaw. "Julia, I thought we were here to meet, not show off." Julia sighed, rubbing her temples like she was dealing with a huge inconvenience. Then, in a voice just loud enough for nearby diners to hear, "I don't date broke guys." Silence. The words hit like a slap. A couple at the next table stopped eating. A man in a tailored suit glanced over with amusement. Alex could feel eyes on him, judging, laughing. His face burned. Julia rolled her eyes. "Look, I gotta go. Maybe next time, dress like you belong here." Then, just like that, she turned her back on him. Alex stood frozen, humiliated, rejected, but they had no idea what was coming next. Alex didn't argue, didn't beg, didn't even look angry. He just smiled, a small, knowing smile. Then, without a word, he turned and walked out. The hostess exhaled in relief. The waiter chuckled again. A few guests at the bar shook their heads. Nobody noticed the valet outside stiffen when he saw where Alex was heading. Nobody noticed the way the staff's laughter faded when the engine roared to life. Nobody noticed until they saw it. A sleek, black Rolls-Royce Phantom purred as it pulled up to the restaurant's entrance. Heads turned. Conversations stopped. Through the tinted windows, the valet saw his own reflection, his jaw hanging open. The driver's door opened, and out stepped Alex. The same Alex they had just laughed at, mocked, rejected. The hostess's smirk disappeared. The waiter, the one who had been laughing, his tray nearly slipped from his hand. Julia's laughter from inside suddenly stopped cold. The guests who sneered at him moments ago stared in stunned silence. One of them, an older man in a tailored tuxedo, leaned in and whispered to his wife, "That's a Rolls-Royce Phantom. $500,000. The air inside the restaurant grew thick with disbelief. Julia rushed to the entrance, eyes wide, breath short. "Wait, that's his car?" She stumbled forward, pushing past the guests. her face a mix of shock, regret, and desperation. "Alex, wait!" she called. Alex looked at her. Expression unreadable. He let the moment stretch. Let the weight of her mistake sink in. Then, he gave her the smallest nod. Not of forgiveness, but of goodbye. And just like that, he stepped back into his car. The door clicked shut. The engine rumbled. And before Julia could say another word, he was gone. For a moment, nobody moved. Then the whispers started. Who is he? I thought he was broke. I think I've seen him before. Isn't he some kind of investor? Julia stood frozen, face pale. Regret hit her like a tidal wave. She had made a huge mistake. Then, her phone buzzed, a new text. From Alex. She grabbed her phone and opened the message with shaking hands. It read, "You should have looked at my last name before judging me. Google it." Julia's fingers trembled as she typed. Her eyes scanned the search results. And then, her breath hitched. The color drained from her face. Because right there, at the top of the search page, was his name, and next to it, a net worth of $500 million. Julia's hands shook. Her mind spun in horror, because suddenly she remembered where she had seen his name before. Alex wasn't just some guy. He was the CEO of one of the city's biggest tech companies, the same company that her father had been trying to get an investment from for months. And she had just publicly humiliated him. Her stomach dropped. Her world collapsed. Then her phone buzzed again. Another message. She opened it, and what she saw made her heart stop. Julia's hands trembled as she stared at her phone screen. Alex wasn't just rich. He was powerful. Her father had been desperately trying to land a deal with Alex's company for months. If he found out what she had done, that she had humiliated and rejected the very man who could change their family's future. Her throat went dry. Then her phone buzzed again. A new message. From Alex ... She hesitated before opening it. But the moment she did, her blood ran cold. Alex, tomorrow, 10 a.m. Boardroom, Skytech, HQ. You'll want to be there. Her heartbeat pounded in her ears. Skytech? His company? Was this a warning? A chance to fix things? Or something worse? Before she could respond, Alex sent a second message. Alex, bring your father. Julia's breath hitched. He knew. He knew who she was. And now, he was calling the shots. The next morning, Julia sat beside her father in his sleek black Mercedes as they pulled up to Skytech HQ, a massive glass skyscraper that screamed power and prestige. Her father was excited, oblivious. I can't believe this, Julia. A personal meeting with Skytech's CEO. This is everything we've been working toward. Julia forced a smile, her stomach in knots. If only he knew. Inside, they were escorted to an ultra-modern boardroom with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. The air was thick with tension. And then, the doors swung open. Alex walked in. Sharp navy suit, cold, unreadable expression. Julia's father stood, beaming. "Mr. Carter, it's an honor to meet you. I've been hoping for this opportunity." Alex's lips twitched. "I know." His gaze flickered to Julia. She swallowed hard. Alex took a seat at the head of the table, steepling his fingers. Let's talk business. Julia's father launched into his pitch, detailing investments, market expansions, the endless potential of working together. But Alex, he barely looked interested. Then finally, he leaned forward. You need this deal, don't you? His voice was calm, measured. Julia's father chuckled nervously. Well, yes. It would be life-changing. Alex's lips curled into a dangerous smile. Interesting, he said, because last night your daughter made it very clear she doesn't associate with people who aren't rich enough. Silence. Julia's father froze. His eyes darted to Julia, confusion turning to shock. What? Julia's breath hitched. She couldn't speak. Alex leaned back. See, Mr. Roberts, before I invest in anyone, I need to know what kind of people I'm dealing with, what values they hold, who they respect, and who they look down on. Julia's father paled. Wait, this is a misunderstanding. Alex raised a hand. I don't do business with people who judge others by their wallets. His voice was icy cold. Julia's father looked at Julia again, realization dawning. You knew him, he whispered, and you insulted him? Julia opened her mouth, but no words came out. Alex stood. I think we're done here. Julia's father's face crumbled. Mr. Carter, please. Alex's gaze flicked to Julia. Maybe next time she'll think before she judges someone. Then, without another word, he turned and walked out. Back in the car, Julia's father was silent. Then, in a low, furious voice, do you realize what you just cost us? Julia flinched. Her father's hands gripped the wheel, knuckles white. That was our last chance, the deal of a lifetime, and you... He exhaled sharply. You threw it away. Tears burned in Julia's eyes. I didn't know, she whispered. But it didn't matter because the damage was already done. Later that night, Julia sat on her bed staring at her phone. She had to fix this ... She typed a message. Julia. Alex, please. Just give me a chance to explain. The message was seen. No reply. She tried again. Julia, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I just want to talk. Nothing? Then, her screen lit up. But it wasn't a text. It was an email from SkyTech Legal Department ... Her fingers shook as she opened it. And when she read the first line, her entire world collapsed. Effective immediately, all negotiations between SkyTech and Roberts Enterprises are terminated. Julia's breath came in short gasps. Her father's company was finished. And it was all her fault. Then, another email. This time, from Alex ... Her heart pounded as she opened it. A single sentence stared back at her. You'll regret this more than you know. Julia's chest tightened. Regret choked her. Then, her bedroom lights flickered. Her phone screen glitched for a split second. Her laptop, sitting on her desk, suddenly shut off, then rebooted. A single message appeared on the screen. Unknown user. It's already begun. Julia's blood ran ice cold. She gasped, heart slamming against her ribs. What did Alex mean? What had already begun? Then, her phone rang. Unknown number. With shaking hands, she answered. A voice, distorted, deep, mechanized, spoke. You took something from him. Now he's taking something from you. Click. The line went dead. Julia's pulse thundered. What had she just unleashed? Julia's fingers tightened around her phone. The distorted voice echoed in her mind. You took something from him. Now he's taking something from you. A chill ran down her spine. What did that mean? Before she could process it, her laptop screen glitched again. This time, an image appeared. A live security feed. Her house, the front gate. A sleek black Rolls-Royce had just pulled up. Her breath hitched. The driver's side door swung open, and out stepped Alex. Julia stumbled back, heart racing. Why was he here? Was he here to humiliate her, to finish what he started? Her mind screamed at her to run, but before she could react, her doorbell rang. Ding dong. She hesitated. Then her phone buzzed. A text from Alex. Alex, open the door. We need to talk. Her hands shook. If she ignored him, would he destroy her father's company completely? Slowly, she made her way downstairs. Her fingers trembled as she reached for the door handle. She took a breath and opened it. Alex stood there, sharp suit impeccable, eyes cold but calm. Behind him, two black SUVs idled by the curb, their tinted windows concealing whoever was inside. Julia's stomach twisted. This wasn't just a visit. This was a statement. May I come in? Alex's voice was smooth, too smooth. Julia swallowed hard and stepped aside. The moment Alex entered, he scanned the room, expression unreadable. Then he turned to face her. You look nervous, he noted. Julia forced a shaky laugh. Should I be? His lips twitched. That depends? He took a step closer. You humiliated me, he said flatly. You rejected me, not because of who I was, but because of what you thought I wasn't. Julia's throat tightened. And now, Alex continued, you're paying the price for that mistake. Julia snapped. I get it, okay? I was wrong. I judged you. I was shallow. And now my father's business is ruined. Are you happy now? Alex didn't flinch. His gaze remained piercing, calculating. Then, finally, he spoke. I didn't come here for an apology. Julia blinked. Then why are you here? He reached into his jacket and pulled out a black folder. Because I'm offering you a way out. Alex placed the folder on the table. Inside, he said, is a contract. Julia hesitated before opening it. Her eyes widened as she read the first line. This agreement is a legally binding contract between Alexandra Carter and Julia Roberts, in which the latter agrees to the following terms in exchange for the restoration of Roberts' enterprises. She froze. What is this? She whispered. Alex leaned against the table, watching her. A second chance, he said. For your father, for his company. She looked back at the document. Clause 1. Julia must accompany Alex to all public events for the next 6 months. Clause 2. Julia must present herself as Alex's partner whenever requested. Clause 3. Under no circumstances may Julia speak of the true nature of this arrangement. Her pulse spiked. You want me to pretend to be with you? Alex's smirk was slow, deliberate. Oh, Julia. He leaned in, his voice barely above a whisper. You won't be pretending. Julia's mind spun. If she signed this, her father's company would be saved. But in exchange, she would be trapped, tied to Alex, under his control. Her gaze snapped to his. Why are you doing this? Alex tilted his head. Let's just say, I enjoy watching people learn their lessons. Julia's hands trembled. This wasn't just a contract. This was a game. And she had no idea what the end game was. Slowly, Alex reached into his pocket and pulled out a pen. He placed it on top of the contract. Then, he met her gaze, eyes glinting with amusement. Your choice, Julia. A single beat of silence. Then, the door burst open. A man in a ski mask stormed in. Gun raised, Alex's eyes darkened instantly. Julia gasped. The masked man growled, You're coming with me! Then, the gun fired. What just happened? Who is the masked man? Is Julia in even more danger than she realized? And what is Alex's real plan? Comment below. If you think Julia should sign the contract, or if she should run for her life. Don't forget to like and subscribe for next episode.